course 3 lesson 7, we start with rates, unit rate, and what an average really is saying. And then because we're talking about average, we'll talk central tendency, mean, median, mode, range, things like that. Okay, a rate is a division relationship with a number over another number. Specifically, it's a rate, so it's a measure over another measure. And we'll only talk about a certain type of rate today, a unit rate. We really want unit rates where the denominator is 1. It makes calculating later much easier. Unit rate. For example, 65 miles per 1 hour, 24 miles per 1 gallon, 32 feet per second, 15 cents per 1 ounce. Rate problems involve the two units that form the rate. Units being miles and hours. So number of hours times the unit rate is the number of miles. We've covered both rates that were in that, both units that were in that rate. Number of gallons and miles per gallon. If we multiply, I put the rate here. Okay, following. That leaves us with these next ones. Feet per second. You can multiply the number of seconds by the rate to get the number of feet. And cents per ounce, a good one for the grocery store. Example 1, driving at an average speed of 55 miles per 1 hour. It's a unit rate. About how far, how many miles will the driver travel in this time? 6 hours. So I think we saw on the previous page that we can use, what equation? We can use right here. The number of hours times the rate is the number of miles. So number of hours times the rate is the number of miles, if I just remembered that correctly. 6 times 55, which is that rate per 1 hour, right? Unit rate, is n miles. So 6 times 55, punch in a calculator, 330 miles. Look back at the example, make sure that that makes reasonable sense. Example 2, Heather finishes a 100-kilometer bike race. She goes for 100 kilometers in 4 hours. What was her average speed? Average meaning, okay, her speed probably fluctuated, but in each hour, those are the groups that we're using for her kilometers. We're going to group it into 4 groups, each an hour, hour 1, hour 2, hour 3, hour 4. If we had to make all the groups the same, what would they all be for her time? So she finished 100 kilometers in 4 hours. I want this as a unit rate, I said. Meaning I want the bottom to be 1. Simplification, right? 100 over 4. We divided 4 by 4. Let's divide the numerator by 4. It's the same as saying 25 kilometers per 1 hour. So this time it involved dividing because we were getting average speed, and the word per oftentimes clues us into division and average. Traveling at an average rate of 58 miles per hour, how long would it take a car to travel 20 miles? 58 miles per 1 hour. We don't know the time, but we know it goes for 20 miles. They say at 60 miles an hour, it's 1 mile a minute. Since 58 is about 60, we can just estimate it's a little more than 20 minutes, because it's going to be an even conversion. I just want to look at their equation here for miles and hours. See if it would have helped us. Number of hours times rate is number of miles. Number of hours times rate is number of miles, right? Wasn't super helpful for this problem though, because I don't really feel like dividing 20 by 58. I guess that would have given me fraction of an hour because we're measuring in hours. So our rates, our equations didn't work great for this one because we end up with a fraction of an hour. So we either want to change this into miles per minute or do some converting at the end. But they showed that we didn't really need to because 58 is close to 60. So just think of it as a minute a mile. Average, again, is a measure of central tendency that can be illustrated well with stacks of things, like stacks of coins. If I have a bunch of coins and I want to say what's my average across 5 groups, you know, even though each group is a very different amount, if I said, well, what's the average stack size, stack height, then we would stack them all evenly. It looks like we can get an even 3 in each stack. So the average of coins per stack is 3 if they were level all the way across. There are other measures of central tendency as well. Example 4, though, it reminds us how to find average. If there's this many students in 4 different classes, what's the average number of students across all 4? We find the sum of all these totals. We add up 28 plus 29 plus 31 plus 32, and we divide by how many groups. There's 4 classrooms. So we get 120 divided by 4. The average number of students per classroom at Keeler School is 30 students. Median means the middle number. Like in a road, you have a median. What's the median number? Mode, this is a hard one to remember. I always just say, what's the mode common number in the data? So it's the one that occurs most frequently, shows up the most, and you might have some competing for a tie if, you know, multiple appear the same amount of times. We have prices of new homes in a neighborhood. Find mean, median, and mode. Your first step is always kind of to list these in order. And then we find a mean, a median, and a mode easiest that way. Let's see if they do that on page 44. Looks like they did finally for the median, but you might as well do it right at the beginning. Finding the mean, again, you add up all the numbers. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12 numbers. So they divide by 12. Came out close is what this wavy equals means. 190 is the average or mean. Same thing. Add up all the numbers, divide by the number of numbers. Median, remember, middle, in the middle, in between number. Order them least to greatest to find this central value. Then count up. Well, we had 12 numbers. We already counted that up here. 12 numbers means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6 and number 7 are my 2 in between. What's the problem with even lists of numbers is there's no true middle. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's the middle brother? I don't know. It's both of these people. It's not like odd numbers where there's a clear middle. So what we do when there's 2 medians is we divide by 2. We find the average of these 2 numbers basically, and that's, you know, what's the in between? What's the median of those 2? It's 186 even. And what's the mode common? Most frequently occurring number is 175, shows up twice. No other number shows up more than once, so it's a clear winner for median. That's all I'll say about that right now. This was a long lesson. Read about range on your own. I think you've used it before. Let's do letter D and E, please. Hopefully that goes okay for you. D, E, F. Let's do those 3, please. Thank you.